Services for former President Gerald Ford will start in just about 3 hours from now. Our next guest was a very good friend of President Ford's and has some interesting memories of him. California Congressman David Dreier joins us now from Washington, D.C. Good to see you, Congressman.
Happy New Year to you, Gretchen, and to Steve, and even the judge, too.
Well, he just said what a great guy you were. I don't know if you got a chance to hear that.
He doesn't know me that well. He doesn't know me that well.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'll fill him in a little bit later on. But it's great to talk to you, and I know you have so many wonderful memories of the former president. The one that caught my eye was the fact that he helped you out with fundraising out in California. And when I think about that, I think, you know, he was not a polarizing figure at all. I assume that he was very helpful in raising money for you because of that.
Well, Gretchen, when I first met him, I was a sophomore in college. He was the Vice President of the United States then, and he could not have been any nicer. And then when just before I was elected to Congress, I was proud to come here on the 1980 sweep with Ronald Reagan at the top of the ticket. Steve Ducey was doing the weather on WRC back then. But the fact of the matter is, President Ford came in just a week before the 1980 election when I was a very young guy, and a lot of people didn't give me a great chance to win. But President Ford provided amazing credibility, and he could not have been more helpful and inspiring, and he provided me with a wide range of advice for the next quarter century. And there are times when we agreed, and he actually on a couple of occasions told me when he disagreed with me, and I consider that to be very helpful. The thing that's important to note, Gretchen, is that he was first and foremost a man of the House. That was really his career goal. And my former colleague, Congressman Guy Vanderjack, quoted President Ford as saying, and I heard President Ford say this myself, that his single most rewarding, fulfilling, and enjoyable election was his first election to the House in 1948.
Interesting. Well, isn't it always the case that we know our true friends by the fact that they tell us what they really think and don't always necessarily agree with us, right?
Well, you know, there's some people who've told me what they think and disagree with me that I don't consider to be friends, Gretchen.
Well, those two.
Yeah, but I will...
The judge likes this interview, I can tell.
Yeah. But I will tell you, President Ford... But the interesting thing about President Ford was that after he told me that he strongly disagreed with something that I had done now 16, 17 years ago, we immediately moved on. And when we came to the majority in 1994, he provided me with tremendous advice. And I will tell you, his spirit of working in a bipartisan way, reaching out, and being civil as we engage in debate is something that's very important for us to remember this week as we see a new Congress come into place.
Congressman, I don't have a lot of time, but I do want to touch on the significance of his wife, because there's a very interesting article in the papers this morning talking about the fact that Betty Ford played an integral role in President Ford's legacy with going through breast cancer, alcoholism, and starting the Betty Ford Center.
Well, we all know, Gretchen, what a tremendous inspiration she has been to women and men all across the country. Their entire family was great. I mean, just the thought of seeing President and Mrs. Ford's children stand in the great rotunda of the U.S. Capitol greeting the visitors was something that, again, was a real inspiration. And then last night to see that number 48 on those helmets at the Rose Bowl was something inspiring, too.
Well, Congressman, I've got to wrap it up here, but we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year to you. Thanks.